In the last video, we saw how to reach a solution for the next smallest palindrome, logically speaking. Now, I'm going to link to that video down in the description as well as on the info card up over there somewhere. In this video, we're going to discuss the code part of that solution. Let's get started. Alright, so let's actually get started with the coding for this solution. We want to create a solve function. We'll do that later. But the first thing we discussed that we wanted to do was be able to detect these palindromes, because if we can detect the palindromes, we can add 1 to them and just treat them like any other normal number. So let's create a function is palindrome, which is going to take the input as a, the string. I'm simply going to return if the a string is the same as a reversed. All right, super simple. We also want to be able to add 1 to the string as and when necessary. So we'll create another function for it. Now, this, by the way, here is a very lazy implementation of, things that will only work in Python. But I've added, or I'll include a link to the code where you can actually do this manually as well. So instead of using string and int as functions, built-in functions, you can actually manually write the entire thing yourself, which is a possible thing interviewer could ask you to do. Anyways, let's get back to the solving part, and now we'll say, you know what, if the is palindrome A is true, if the current string is palindrome, why don't you go ahead and add 1 to it? So we'll just pass it like this. Cool. Now we have handled the cases for palindromes. Now what? Well, we want to now split the cases out into even and odd length cases. So we'll say if the length of the A and 1 is odd, basically if the length of the string is odd, we'll handle it separately, else we'll handle it separately. So we'll say self.handle odd and we'll pass in the string A. All right. Similarly, we'll do this for even. Cool. Let's create 2 more functions, handle even and handle odd. Cool. So what do we do when it's the case of odd length? The first thing we'll do is actually split the cases, split the string out into left, mid, and right. All right. So left is I'll actually set up n equals to length of a, and mid fine will have the a of n by 2 over here. Left is a of 0 to n by 2, and right is a of n by 2 plus 1 all the way up till the end. So all I've really done is split the string out into 3 different parts, left, right, and mid. Super simple. Now what do we want to do? Well, let's look at some of the rules we wrote. So in the odd cases, of course, we want to copy the left to the right, but we also want to compare the reverse of the left with right. So now we need another function to compare if one string is either greater than, equals to, or less than the other. So let's create a compare function with, let's say, string x and y. So how do we compare 2 strings? What we can do is we can create iterators. So we'll have for ij in zip of xy. So we'll just iterate over both the strings together. So x has the pointer I to it and y has the pointer j to it. So both will keep on moving together. Okay, we'll say now if I will actually have to look at int of I. Now if the int of I is greater than the int of j, well, that means that the first string has found a character which is greater than the second one. So we can return, let's say 1. We can say elif int of I is lesser than int of j, return -1, saying that the second string is greater. So this is the case where the first string is greater, and this is the case where the second string is greater. Else we can say, you know what, continue. And if you can go through the entire loop without finding any disagreements between the 2 strings, then, well, you can return 0. So now that we have the compare function set up, which is super simple, feel free to look at it once. Now that we have the compare function, we can actually go ahead and compare. So we'll say that if self.compare the 2 strings which are left and right, Oh, by the way, it's not the left, but the reverse of the left. Now, if the reverse of the left and right will give you this. So if the reverse of the left is greater than the reverse of than the right, which means that this is equals to 1. If that is the case, we'll keep the mid as is. So that is the more simpler case where we'll return say left plus mid plus the reverse of left. Else, this is the more complicated case where we have to do mid plus 1. All right, so how do we do mid plus 1? Remember that we aren't just going to look at the middle value and increase it by 1. We'll actually have to first merge it with the left side values. So in 13937, we first actually merged like 13, the left, with the mid, the 9. So 13 and 9 became 139, and then we added 1 to it. So we'll do the same. Left becomes left plus mid. And now we can use the function add 1. So we can say that left now becomes self.add 1 left. Cool. Now we can finally return this, and we have left plus what? Now remember, the left is now 140. So we can just take this 140, we can flip it around. So we can have left colon minus 1, and we'll have the middle character repeated. So let's just skip over that. I think this looks decent enough. I actually want to test it out before we proceed. So let's look at 13937 and see if it works accordingly. Okay, function return none. All right. Let's return this over here, and we'll return this over here. Looks good. Okay, let's try it out. 14041. Is it the expected one? 14041. Cool. Let's see a couple more cases, just to make sure that what you've written is correct. So we can do 53545. Test it out. Again, 53635. Beautiful. And then 97531. 31, which becomes 97579. Beautiful. Okay, so we have perfectly handled the odd cases now. This is the entire code for the handling odd cases. We also are using 3 helper functions: is, palindrome, add 1, and compare for our advantage. All right, let's write the even case now. We have n equals to the length of the A. So the left now becomes A from 0 to n by 2, and the right becomes A from n by 2 all the way up till the end. What was the chain of logic for even cases? Let's go all the way back. Cool. So if the reverse of the left is greater than right, easy peasy means just copy the left. All right, so we'll say, you know what, self.compare the reverse of the left with right. And if the reverse of the left is greater than right, which means that the answer would be 1 in the comparison function, then we can return left plus the reverse of the left. All right. Else, this is a bit more tricky condition. We'll have to do left plus 1. So we'll say left equals to self dot add 1 to the left. And now I think we can just do left plus left reversed. How about this? How about we test it using official test cases? Cool. It looks like we have a correct answer. We are almost there. Almost there. I can feel it. And we're done. All right, cool. So I know this video was long. This question was hard, to be fair. A lot of edge cases, a lot of trickiness hidden inside of it, but we were able to solve it in less than 50 lines. We just splitted out the test cases into odd and even length cases, did some comparison, did some basic rule finding, and we're done. All right. Anyways, this is it for the solution to the problem. Next, smallest palindrome. And as always, thanks for watching.